indicates now that we are moving forward. And so if the people want to do it, all they got to do is run, and Wyandotte County citizens of all races are willing to vote for it.
You know
Just a comment, I'm sorry.
Linda Jeffries, do you know her in Topeka?
Yes, I know Linda, yes. Yes, ma'am.
Just a comment. You see up here the face of our website. If you would, on Mr. Carter, our website is StrugglersHillRoots.com. It's easy to remember. But we just in the area where Struggles Hill is located. And this is the face of it. That's a film that we had done. For example, Delano Lewis,
Former U.S. Ambassador.
the ambassador, who grew up in this area.
Who's a mentor of mine.
Okay.
And a fraternity brother.
Okay, all right, okay. Well, everybody's entitled to one mistake.
Ah, no, not really.
Let me ask another question. So you know what I am.
Yes, I do.
Okay.
You wear your colors. Go ahead.
The police officers do a good job. At least 99% of them. You know, I don't mind to say this publicly, and they've got my butt kicked years ago, folks still getting kicked. It's the 1% that causes the problem.
Right.
Okay. But the police officers go out here and put their life on the line. They go arrest the people, and before they can finish making their report and get back on the street. And so I can understand how that would make a police officer say, well, why am I gonna keep busting my butt? Which they do, go out here and the criminal's back on the street. What can be done to help officers like them who are out here trying to do the right thing?
Number one, that's not happening under my administration, okay? So, I ran talking about that, which goes to the low-level prosecution. In many of those cases, and officer, please speak up if I'm wrong. Like, well, you just don't know, it's still happening. But
my take is always different from other guys who maybe you're a little bit newer. I produce, and you tell me whether it's good enough for you to file. And if you say no, or I gotta settle for this, I'm fine with it. I mean,
yeah,
hey, we can only get what we can get. And you can only, I don't have a problem with it. Some guys get mad and throw a fit, but
yeah.
it's a team effort.
Well, and that's the thing. What we've done is made sure, and I'll say this now because I'm getting everything printed up. So the police department will be receiving shortly here a little booklet, and in that booklet it will have the elements of the crimes and what the district attorney's office need to file charges on these individuals. And that way, that question that you just asked, is this what you need? They will already know. And then that way they can hold my office accountable and say, no, this is what y'all said. 1, 2, and 3 is checked off, which you mean you're not charging, right? And what happens is these folks are charged, and a lot of times when I was doing my research, it was the burglary of a vehicle, it was taking a car or burglarizing a home with no one's in it. And those are low-level felonies, right? And many times they would be arrested because it's done, and the previous administration and across the country, because oftentimes those theft cases are pretty difficult to prosecute. But in my book, I don't care if it's difficult. I mean, you elected me to try cases and to deal with it. So I filed those charges within the 48 hours. And within that time, as long as we have the probable cause to believe that we can get a conviction, then we charge them, okay? And so afterwards, then there can be more investigation done. But if a person is caught, and I'll tell you the example that I had, a person was in a car, and the person who he stole the car from, his driver's license was sitting right in the front. The person was pulled over by the police come up, and they see it's not his car. It was reported stolen. The other person whose car it was, ID was right there. And rather than arresting this person for taking the car, they open the door, say, get out the car and get out of here.
Oh my God.
Well, the reasoning was, as you had just stated, every time we arrest these people, they're being released, and there was a notion, quite honestly, there was a mandate per se that went out. They're not filing charges on these car thefts, okay? And so you had many officers who worked the beat, who was just like, yeah, he stole it, but hey man, listen, at least you got your car back, take your car, go on down the road. And so, these folks, right, little Johnny who did that, guess what little Johnny thinking?
I'm gonna get another one.
Shoot.
The second part of that question is, could some of that be that if you house them in the jail, that increase the space or the expense?
Well-
Has that been a problem?
Yeah, I mean, jail space is always a problem, right? But it doesn't factor into, in fact, Sheriff Ash and I, we laughed, but he was a little mad at it for a second, because I have increased my amount of charging,
Yeah.
which means I've increased his jail population.
There you go.
Because my job is not to sacrifice the citizens of this county because you got a full house. Well, it sounds like you need to find out where to put them, because I'm not gonna let them go unless I feel like it's in the safety, the best interest of the community. So, did that? I don't know. I can't speak on behalf of previous administrations or administrations across the country.
I
Yes.
mentioned Scared Straight a while ago. I didn't mean to come off negative, but my dad, you know, he was of the Boston Daniels area, in other words, era. And I grew up in the 60s. I was a teenager getting ready to go to college in 1963. Now, my dad was a jailer. So, you know, he was looked upon as leadership at that time.
Absolutely.
You know, and young kids like myself, you know, they would be kind of like Tom said a while ago, they would come to the jailhouse and they would see what was happening with the lockup. And then they'd hear certain things that was negative about the lockup. So my dad, you know, in a leadership position like that, I was scared.
Yeah.
I wouldn't about to step across the
That's
line,
good.
you know,
That's
and do
good.
something bad, you know, because I'm scared straight.
Well, and I think that helps on some folks. I think it does. I think some it does. But I think we're living in a time where that's usually not the case. But for some it does, and for others,
Get me out of trouble.
well, I'm glad it did. I'm
You
glad it
know,
did.
I remember when they had the Scared Straight program. As a matter of fact, I've still got that manual on that Scared Straight program. And it worked a little bit back in the 60s, like you were saying, and even up through the 70s, because I was in the Missouri school system in the 70s and did some work over there, and I did some lecturing over there. And that's why I got the manual. And that's why they quit federally funding it, because it wasn't working, and they had to retool it. And they came out with something else in its place. I forget what they got in place. But my question, my problem is in dealing with criminals and the whole thing, is that I think if there was a larger effort put on trying to get jobs and let people get jobs when they come out of jail. Like you say, everybody that goes to jail is not a criminal. And I know people who are relatively good people, and they got in a situation and maybe they did something that caused them to get a little spank on the hand record, as you call. To me, no record is small. But anyway, and then when they get off of that, they do their restitution and so forth, and after that, nobody wants to touch them to divorce cards or anything hardly, or anything beyond. And so they, you know, all this other stuff I think is excellent and good, but we've got to do something because of the work situation, because I think when you put money in these people's pocket, and they're being productive citizens, it gives them a whole new attitude and an address about themselves.
Well, and what you're talking about, to answer it, I agree. I think there has to be post-conviction treatment, post-conviction
Exactly.
assistance. My job as the district attorney is not per se to worry about the post-conviction.
I understand.
But I do believe that we are lacking the federal funds and state funding for those type of assistance programs. They used to be where the inmates could go to school, they could get degrees, they could get welding certificates, and a lot of those things have been taken out of the institutions. And so they go in there to learn how to be better criminals, and then they're released without having received any formal type of education. So I think that there needs to be more in our institutions, federal prisons rather, and state prisons, to give them the ability. Now, that's one side of it, right? But here's the other side, here's the other argument. I'm already paying for them, and they got a TV, and they got food, and I got a family, and they the one who committed the crime, and then you got, well, now you want to pay for their college too? Well, and so, that, you know, there's a side to both things, and I'm gonna take your last question.
Yeah, one more question,
and then
thank you.
Like here's what you were saying, is wrong, because there are a lot of people that will hire felons.
Yes, sir.
They will do that because if they have a right to on an application, and you take places like Owens Corner and Fiberglass, they don't care whether you went to jail or not. They will hire you, but like the trade, if they take the trade like you said, the welding and all that, they can always do the job.
Yeah.
Whether they got the record or not. And it's allowed, let's say they do not have to open up that record.
Well, it may be a law, but it doesn't work, they can always do it.
So the DA said, he's got it, go ahead.
I appreciate you all, I appreciate the opportunity, I thank you for this opportunity. Please, invite me back again.
We like that one.
I said we're gonna give you more than 4 years, I guarantee it.
I appreciate it.
Remember what I told you?
Hey, listen, as long as I get your support, I'm watching that corner now. If my name go up there and it don't look.
You're gonna get more than 4 years. I appreciate it.
Just one last, I think one thing in the county, in Wyandotte
Maybe
County,
you can get some of your buddies to sit out.
one thing in the legal commission, I mean, the district attorney, in Wyandotte County, we just wanna make one last comment here.
Excuse me, hello.
We'll make one, because he's got to go, we're gonna make
Hello,
one last
on the
comment.
end. He's making a statement.
One thing in Wyandotte County, or in anything, if a person or people lose hope, then they die.
Yeah.
And this has been basically part of the problem in Wyandotte County. Let me just say to you, Mr. District Attorney, not only the people here, but all over, you've given us renewed hope.
Yes.
Yes,
You've
Yes,
given
you
us
did.
hope.
yes.
So it's a lot on your shoulder, but we know that you can handle it.
So we're gonna be with you.
You got a whole community behind you too.
Yes, sir.
I get a chance to look at it. And one day,
I would love to. Take care.
I'll call you.
Yeah, call him, he'll get you there.
You can only do.
Yes, oh, yes, oh, yes.
Really? It's coffee?
All right.
Yeah, yeah, no, I'm like that. Thank you, sir.
All right. We certainly thank everybody for coming out today and, certainly, thank our guest speaker, Mr. Dupree, and I hope we all understand what we have. And let me just say this. If a person is in office, we get him in office, and we get a person like him who's really trying, and we leave him there. We leave them. That it happens to too many of our good people. And we say, they ain't doing nothing. They can't do any more than what you do. If they're not doing anything, and I say this unequivocally, you're 80% of the problem. You have to do something with him. You have to support him. You have to talk it up. You have to say to the fellows that's acting crazy out in the street, or you have to say, like the lady was throwing stuff over in this place, and like the news say, we ain't taking it no more.
That's right.
Until we start doing that, he will fail. It's up to every one of us to say, what am I doing? Okay, with those comments, we'd like to go with the rest of the meeting.
Can we get him back again? Because
We'd like, oh yeah, we'd like to get him. We've got a speaker for next month will be Representative Nguyen from the state legislature. They're in special session. She's always speaks after the session, that she'll be our next month. The month after that, we'd like to go through our website. I think that's on for July. And then maybe in August, we'll see if we can get him back in August. We need to keep hearing. We need, well, anyway, let's go to any correspondence. Okay. Expenses, as you all know, we'll try to do this two things at once. We own Struggles Hill, we own 4 vacant lots. Okay, there probably not another, probably no more than one other neighborhood who has vacant lots. And so our president here, he does about 90% of the cutting of his vacant lots. And we've been more or less paying, this is not a complaint, because I think he enjoys it most of the time. He allows me to cut sometimes, but we'd like to get, allocate $30 for gas, because we've just been buying gas, and so, we'd like to suggest, $30 for gas expense.
So moved.
Without gas.
Okay, thank you.
I make a motion, we buy a goat and save this.
You know, walk a goat? Sometime as you drive by the 1100 block on Everett, and see the good job that he does most of the time. As I say, he let me cut sometime.
What lots do they own?
The
I know where
1100
the
block
farm
on
is,
Everett.
The garden is it 4 lots there or just?
Well, we're gonna make a comment about those gardens, but thank you for the question. Any committee reports? Okay, let's jump to new business. The blind school, the 150th anniversary, which we talked about last month, and they've, 150th anniversary, and they've sent invitations to Struggles Hill. They sent them, I guess, through myself and Clifford Liggins. We discussed this at last meeting, that we'd probably send 2 people. And so the event will be on June 30th. And the cost for the dinner is $51 per individual. So the executive committee is recommending that we purchase 2 tickets to this event, because they've been great to us to allow us to meet here in this atmosphere. So, with the tickets, the executive committee recommended that Mr. Liggins, president, be in attendance, and he would allow me to go with him. And anyone else is certainly, if you want to participate, we have invitations here. I know Ms. Harrison said that she wanted to go, and I think Ms. Bland said she wanted to go. It's $55 per plate, and the event will be